And did you try to remove any money out of the account at any time?
No, sir.
Not even after you terminated the
No,
agreement?
I was informed. I was informed by Ed Elber. He says, don't do anything. Leave it the way it is. Do not even touch anything. Just leave it the way it is. And I did. I just...
Alma Arsique was hired as your personal assistant?
She was introduced to me by the Secretary of Culture, she was an intern for him.
She was an intern?
Yes, for
Did you ever tell her not to speak to Miss Terrio?
I told her yes. I said, I'm having a lot of issues with this woman, serious problems from LA. So it's best that you maintain your distance from her and don't create any problems.
So you told your assistant, who was responsible for your day-to-day activities, not to talk to Miss Terrio?
No, she came later as my assistant.
What was she before?
She was going to come with me to help me with any extra work I needed, in Calakmul. The other person came from Mexico City to help me doing the letters, logistics.
Did you tell that? Who's the other person?
Maritza.
And did you tell Maritza not to talk to Ms. Terrio?
No. I said the lady is very conflicted. Just keep it, very professional. And I told Arsique Alcalá the same thing. I said, she's very conflicted. Just keep your distance from her. That's it.
You told me a minute ago. You told her not to talk to.
Well, not to. It's a very vague question. Not to talk about what? So.
Not to talk to her about anything.
Okay. Well, I said don't get too personal with her. She's a conflicted person. Period. Just keep your distance. That's it.
You're very upset, aren't you?
No, I'm not upset. It's just that you are very pushy.
I'm very pushy.
You know?
I'm very pushy. I'm just asking you about what you're telling your assistants. You have assistants who are assisting you on a project financed and executive produced by Ms. Terrio, and you're telling them not to talk to her. I just find that interesting.
I want to put it on the record that my client, I think it's pretty obvious to everybody that hears his voice, speaks two different languages, was brought up in Mexico. He doesn't always assimilate questions like you would or I would, who are 100% with the American dialect. And I've noticed that throughout this. Sometimes he doesn't seem to understand the questions. And he answers a different question than you ask.
That appears to be the situation. I agree with you.
Have a little patience with him, and he's trying. And he's been doing so for, like, what, 6 hours.
Did you tell anyone else who were part of the crew or the post-production team that they could not communicate directly with Ms. Terrio?
Yes, I did.
And why was that? Because she's a conflicted person.
It was very conflicted. It was gonna. I knew she was all worked out about this creative control and the music and everything, and she was already indicating to Eduardo Bertis and some of the other Emiliano Chaparro, that her ideas and views. And I said, the lady is a little conflicted. I said, just keep your distance. That's it. I never said don't talk to her at all. I said just keep your distance, because obviously she's going to come here. You're going to have to interact with her. She's going to ask questions. She's going to do this. She's going to do that. Just keep your distance. That's what I said.
Okay. You didn't tell him not to talk to her.
I never said not to talk to her at all.
Okay.
It's impossible.
How long have you been in Los Angeles, sir?
On and off. Probably about 17 years, 15 years, I don't know.
Okay. You speak primarily English in Los Angeles when you're here?
Yes.
So you're pretty familiar with the English language now after 17 years?
I assume I am a little bit, yes.
I didn't say he wasn't familiar with the English language.
You don't have to argue with me. I'm just asking the question. I'd like to know how long he's been in the Los Angeles, whether he speaks principally English when he's in Los Angeles, and for how many years. You can make your argument that he still is incapable of answering the way that you want him to.
I didn't make the argument that he's incapable of answering the way I want him to. Apparently, he may have a capacity problem answering the way you want to sometimes. That's why you keep badgering him.
I just wanted to make on the record that 17 years. in Los Angeles. Was there an incident where Marisa Viana took off for an entire day in a van that contained the food and drinks for the entire crew?
She never took off for the entire day. That would have never happened, not under my clock.
Okay, what happened?
She
Was there an incident where
There was no incident that I recall, and she actually, we didn't have someone available to go and pick up the food because we didn't have the proper food on the set. So I said, Maritza, why don't you go and get the food and come back? So you have to bear in mind that from the compound from Calakmul to the entrance of Calakmul, it's about 67 kilometers. From once you get to that intersection, it's another 65 kilometers to get the food. So we're talking about almost 120, 200 kilometers, I don't know, something like that.
Whose responsibility is it to have food and drink for the crew?
It was Eduardo Bertis, the guy that...
So Eduardo Vertes screwed up.
He screwed up in many other things.
Okay.
So.
And Marisa Viana had no responsibility for the fact that there was no food or drink.
That was not her responsibility. I asked her to please go and get the food. And she took off probably about three and a half hours, probably, I don't know.
Did she ever prepare the shooting logs?
What was the question again?
Did she ever prepare the shooting logs?
It was Eduardo Bertis who was supposed to be in charge of all that stuff.
And he didn't instruct her to prepare the shooting logs?
No. I don't know what Eduardo Bertis had 3 other people working, and one of them was...
The question is, did he ever instruct her to prepare the shooting logs?
She was no.
Somebody else was instructed.
Who was instructed to prepare?
I don't remember. A guy with a long beard that was on the set. I don't remember his name right now, but I'll give you his name.
He was instructed to prepare the shooting logs. Okay. And was she the time coder?
No.
Who was the time coder?
The same guy.
Same guy was the time coder. What was her job?
Her job was to assist me with communicating with the government, whatever extra additional information we needed to supply to the hotels. One of the hotels was not, they couldn't take any credit cards. We needed to pay them cash. So she was in charge of facilitating, and or fixing the situation between our production and the Calakmul Hotel in Calakmul. So those were some of her responsibilities.
And who recommended her for the job?
Eduardo Bertis.
He's the one who suggested her for the position.
Well, she came to Eduardo Bertis for a job. They had an ad on one of those film newspapers, whatever, and that's how they hired her.
Did you select New Wave Entertainment as the post-production facility?
It was me. It was finally me who selected him. Yes.
Okay. And did you tell New Wave Entertainment that they could not communicate with Miss Dario?
I never said that to them.
Never told them not to.
I said we have to be careful with the lady because she's indicating that she wants to take control of the entire project, and the creative control seems to be now a big issue, and she's not supposed to invade that part of the contract.
So what were you telling them?
I'm telling them what I just told you, that I am in charge of the creative control of this picture. And they said, okay, don't worry, we'll handle her, in the best possible way.